That's a little bit better, but it's okay. We'll get y'all going here in a minute. Hey y'all, I'm Wendy Nicely. I'm the president of Knox REIA, and I will be your tour guide for tonight. I have a lot of great news to give you, and then I'll introduce our other speakers because they've got the real goods for tonight. Cool? First of all, I gotta tell you that I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant, and check with your attorney, check with your accountant before you do any deals. Remember, real estate is risky, and I'm not representing anybody in their deals. I'm just here to tell you some fun stories about ways I've messed up and ways I've made lots of money, okay? But Kendra and Brian will also tell you ways that you can make lots of money in real estate. Don't trust anything we say, though. Check it for yourself, okay? Remember, these are just stories. We're just people. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Real estate is risky, and this video I got in trouble for showing, but it's basically saying that people were buying houses in the last couple of years, and the way they were buying them, they were waiving inspections, they were waiving contingencies, they were waiving appraisals, they were just buying houses, right? And then they got in the houses, and guess what? There was problems. All right, I'm 37. Is it hot?
It should be working.
Here, you try it. Say hello.
Hello. Try it without that on.
Oh, turn this one off. Hello, hello.
I think it's just the sound on it.
Okay. So, they're buying these houses, and they're buying. Hey, how are you, Ray? They're buying houses that are sometimes 5, 10, 15, 20, 35 years old, and what happens to us after 35 or 7 years? Things don't work, right? My ankle just cracked when I did that. Things are a little bit crackier than they were when we were brand new. So it happens with our bodies too. Also, I want to tell you that if you are a member of Knox REIA, I heard somebody join tonight. Yay! We've got a Home Depot code that we can give you so that you can start saving money when you spend money at Home Depot. Fantastic, right? Good. And Miranda's in charge of that. I bought my husband's birthday present, and then I got me a little present too, because if he's getting a present, I'm getting a present. At Home Depot, and I actually saved $150. $150? Yeah. I saved $150 just for buying his birthday present because I have my little code in, which basically pays for a whole year of Knox REIA, okay? So it pays to make money and save money and spend money. Cool? All right, I'm still looking for a hard money sponsor, so if anybody wants to sponsor us, then we will get to feature you up here at our meeting and on the handouts that Miranda has. We'll be working on getting those out so that everybody can see who our sponsors are. You can talk, you can hand out stuff at the meetings. It'll be fantastic. Just email me. Evan Anderson is our legal sponsor, and if y'all are doing deals or you're looking for somebody to close your deals, he is amazing because he will travel to you. If you're closing in Blount County, if you're closing in Loudoun County, McMinn County, wherever it is you're closing deals, he will go to you. I had a teacher in Sevier County who couldn't leave school because she's a teacher, right? And he came on her planning break, closed her deal while she was at school, and she didn't have to take off time, all right? So if you need a closing attorney, Evan Anderson is your guy. He's been closing my deals since 2014. He's fantastic. And his partner is Rusty Faust. Rusty does a lot of the accounting work. He'll set up your trusts, he'll set up your LLCs, he'll set up all of your legally money situations to make sure that you get to keep more money instead of letting the government have more of your money. Good? Awesome. So just email both these guys, and they're on your sheet there. So you can email them tomorrow. And y'all ready for the news? Kendra actually sent me this last month, and I forgot to say it, but President Biden has come out with a great incentive to get people to buy more houses, and I put it on your sheet so you can look it up and read about it on your own, okay? And PropStream. We talked about PropStream a couple months ago. They are the way that we find deals in our office, and everybody was really upset because they didn't have MLS data anymore, and they've got it back. So I put a link on your sheet there, too, so you can sign up for PropStream. They can pull all these lists for you, and they can send postcards. They can do all sorts of amazing stuff for you so that you don't have to manually write your yellow letters and send your stuff and drive for dollars and all that stuff. PropStream will do it all for you. We love PropStream. David, Reichter, okay, he wrote this book, Profit First. Has anybody read Profit First by Mike Mikowicz? This book, this dude, this author, also wrote a book called Pumpkin Plan. Changed my whole business, all right? Then I read this book, Profit First, is how to actually keep your money, how to get it in the right buckets. Kind of a Dave Ramsey, but way more updated. Then David, and I've got this on our Facebook page. David wrote this book with Mike's blessing, and it is Profit First for real estate investors, okay? If you're gonna order a book, you're gonna read a book in the next month, make sure it's this one. All right, he's absolutely fantastic. He recorded this video for us, but my sound's not working, so we'll have to email this one out to you, but it's on our Facebook page too, if you wanna check it out. And if you were here last month, Steve Cook, he was here earlier, but he's already gone off to do a deal. He offered everybody a free wholesaling workshop, remember? If you were here last month, it's a free wholesaling workshop. It's this Friday. Make sure you email. You RSVP to the email that he sent out. He sent out 2 emails. Make sure that you have RSVP'd so he can tell you what address to go to. I can't give you that. I'm not hosting it. You have to respond to the email, okay? And it was free for everybody that was here last month. That's why you have to come every month, okay? It's all good. And if you missed the news, did I say 32? I'm 22 weeks. 22 weeks and 5 days. Pregnant! Yay! So that was the biggest news that we broke last month. So I will be huge, but we will continue with the show. I'm due in November 11th, which is a Friday. Guess who's still going to be here Tuesday? Okay? Wait, Kendra's in charge. I'm not doing that. You won't want to hear from me then. Okay? Kendra, I need you to teach in November. Can you do a qualified opportunities on that? Sure. Okay, great, thanks. See? We're making things happen. It's all good. And now it's time for Kendra. Come on up. Give us the market update. Did we get the other handheld mic working? Anybody know? Miranda, do you know if the handheld started working? Here, I'll give you this one.
Andrea's now looking up on the computer.
You can hold it if you want to. Ow, ow, ow. That keyboard should work. We didn't plug mine in. I thought that side said 32 weeks. I'm not 32.
Hey, you're with Coldwell Baker. I'm also with Coldwell Baker.
What office?
My name's Kendra Green Ellis. I'm a real estate agent with Coldwell
No,
Baker.
talk louder.
Commercial. But I was at the Bearden office before I switched over to commercial. So, as most of you guys know, we track the market update, and what I wanted to just talk to you guys about of how much things have changed this month compared to this month last year, and then look at on last year compared to this year. So Andrea is being my lovely assistant today over there on the computer. If you could click on the market summary one, the one with the reports. And then scroll down to the next page. And if you guys want to find this report and all the data that we have, I have it in a spreadsheet for you guys, and that you can easily go to. I have a bit.ly link, and there's a QR code somewhere that you can take a picture of. I don't know where they put it, but just if you need it, find me afterwards, and I will type the link in your phone so you can find it. But just to compare June of this year to compare June of last year. So I know that because of the interest rates going higher, we do see that things have been slowing down, but I want to put this in a perspective for you to know what this was like last year versus this year, and it really hasn't changed that much. So the absorption rate is the month's supply of inventory, and it's how fast things are selling. So that's a scale of 0 to 12 months. If it's 6 months or more, it's a buyer's market. If it's 6 months or less, it's a seller's market. So even with things adjusting a little bit last year, of June, we were at 1.25 absorption rate, and right now we're at 1.6. So it's still a seller's market. It's just slowed down just a little bit. And when we look at the actual stats of what price ranges things are selling for, I thought that would be really important for you to see what type of houses, what price range things are slowing down at. And so if you look, the biggest difference of that change, the negative change of things were being less of these houses were selling. One of those is because of the prices of houses going up. So there's not that many houses that are actually in that price range anymore. So that's why we're seeing a lot less of those. So the biggest change is that, first of all, raise your hand if you've even seen anything under $100,000 on MLS. It's super hard to find right now. But so that's what you can see of just last year. We're seeing a negative 32% of houses that are selling under $100,000. But also all the other prices around that, pretty much under 300,000, we are seeing less homes sell under 300,000. And this is Knoxville and the entire Knoxville MLS. So Knoxville and all the surrounding areas. If you go to that bit.ly link and you have a certain area that you work in, you can find these numbers, the same report for different areas, and kind of look specifically in your market what that's like. But for the other changes that I wanted to show you of the increase of more houses selling, and I want to ask you a question in just a little bit of why you think that could be happening, would be, go up just a little bit more, right there. The houses in the above $500,000 price range, a lot more of those houses are selling. And then we're also seeing a lot of houses sell in the over $1 million, between the $1 million and $1.3 million. A lot of houses are selling in that price range, and then 1.8 to 2 million. And that is because we have a lot of people that are selling their houses from these bigger states that have a lot of cash, and they're coming into our market, acquiring these larger properties at a higher price, and we're seeing more than that than we have in a long time. So that's why we're seeing that much of an increase of houses that are selling above 500,000, and most of them are cash buyers that are coming from out of town. And then that other market of between 275 and 3 million. And then after that, it slows down a little bit. So it's kind of like markets that our market, things don't really sell a lot above $3 million for residential houses. They do, on the other hand, sell for that for apartments and commercial property. So the next report and the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is commercial stuff, because it's kind of hard to track that on the local area, but this is a good report on a national level that shows you the trends for commercial property. It's the next report, Andrea. Click the button. It's that first one. Or you can click the arrow on the left. Yep. And then go down to the second page of this. Perfect. Okay, so this is the price increase of price index of commercial properties. And just to look as a comparison of how things have changed all the way back to 1998. Starting right here. And then as you can see, the 2008 when it dropped down, and how we're trending up, and then we had a slight change with pre-COVID around 2019, and then here's where we are now. So huge hyperinflation, and now things are settling a little bit more. And if you could scroll to the next one. So this will break down, keep going just a little bit. Oh wait, this is important. This is, so in the past month, we've seen it come down 3.7%, but overall in the past 12 months, we're still at an increase of 10%. And then compared to pre-COVID, we're at a 9% increase for commercial properties. And then scroll down, Andrea, to the very last one with the different lines. Okay, so these are the different categories of commercial properties and how they've been improving since 2015. So that gray area, that gray line, which is super surprising to me, but that gray line is actually mobile home parks. It's like the #1 highest increased value in commercial. So that's really interesting. And if you didn't know this, I bought a mobile home park this year, so that's super cool. Industrial parks, I know that is a huge trend because we're seeing more need for industrial factories, especially in East Tennessee, there's a huge need for that. So industrial has been increasing, storage units have been increasing, apartments have kind of stayed steady, and then healthcare is kind of like a flat line, and everything else, obviously we know like shopping centers are down at the bottom right now.
It's kind of interesting that they all have the same pattern but a different slope.
Mhm. They all do have the same pattern of how things have changed, but it's just the trajectory and how often they took off compared to everything. So I thought that was very interesting of how they have that. They even have it, I don't know if you noticed this, they're even talking about senior housing in this as well. It's just not on it's within that healthcare section. That's incorporating senior housing and senior housing net leases. So if we're looking at how healthcare is at a steady increase, that may have been because it's also including that niche of senior housing. So I would be interested to know if you take that out and look at healthcare for residential or for normal healthcare versus healthcare housing, what that would look like. But this was a good report. They have a lot of stuff that if you wanted to go back, that website would be a good resource for you guys if you're interested in commercial stuff. And it's greenstreet.com.
I'm going to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Y'all, he came all the way from Birmingham, Alabama, which is a good little drive. And I hope he tells you tonight about his hiking adventure last month and what they were doing to raise money for veterans that need houses. Hey, Chip. And all the wonderful things that he has going on. Y'all, this man has over 500 rentals, so he knows a lot about real estate. Was it 500 or was it 800? I can't remember, but it's a lot. It's more than I have. And it was absolutely mind-blowing. I've been on his podcast, and we go to Mastermind a bit every September together. He is amazing, and he has a world of information to share with you tonight. Brian Tripp, come on up. Thank you so much. I'll give him a round of applause. Woo! Yeah! Yeah.
How are we doing? How do I do this? She puts this around her neck.
I did.
Hello,
John Jackson.
check.
See, I think that looks good. You look like a pastor.
Pasture?
No, a pastor, like
How
a
we-
preacher.
How are we doing tonight? We doing good?
Oh.
One person's doing good. How are we doing tonight?
Give him some more.
I'm excited to be here. I've never spoken without a presentation. I'm going to do that tonight, mainly because I want to try to provide as much value to you guys as I can. That's my goal in being here tonight. Is anyone, by show of hands, who thinks I'm here to sell you something tonight? Be honest. It's okay. You got some hands in the back? Okay. I will not disappoint you. I'm just kidding. I have nothing to sell. But I do, I'm passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about real estate. I'm passionate about giving as much as I can. And I'm interested to learn what you guys are doing right now. Who is buying and holding real estate? Anybody buying and holding rentals? Few of you. Who is wholesaling? Anybody wholesaling? Few of you wholesaling? Who's lending? Any lenders? A couple of lenders in the room. Fix and flippers? House rehabbers? Don't be shy when I ask this question. Brand new, never done a deal. I'm interested in real estate. I really want to do a deal. Raise your hand. Brand new, never done a deal. Few of you. Okay, awesome. Okay, so a good little mix, right? I would love to know what are some of your biggest challenges right now as you maybe try to find your first deal, maybe try to find rentals, maybe try to find whatever it is your next, whatever your next thing is. I would love to kind of learn that so we can help you tonight. I think that's the cool thing about being in an intimate room like this is we can do that. We've got time for that. But I want to start off by saying this. We are not in a housing crisis. Okay, there's a lot of fear out there right now. There's a lot of people chirping and talking. But as Kendra just eloquently pointed out, we are not in a housing crisis. We're not in a recession, although we could technically be in one when they announce that very soon. But the sky is not falling when it comes to real estate. The only data point that is out there right now is interest rates have gone up. That's the only hard data point that we have to go by right now that indicates real estate could be moving in a downward direction because interest rates are up. Okay, but interest rates actually have just Calm back down just a little bit, very recently. The truth is, I don't know, you don't know, we don't know what is gonna happen. We don't know what the future is. A lot of people I talk to, a lot of stuff that I'm doing real estate wise, I am a little bit more conservative than I was a few months ago because things might be changing. We don't know. For sure, some buyers have pulled out recently. Buyers had properties under contract. Just talked to some people from this market. Not only my market, I've talked to people all over the country. Just talked to people in this market. Buyers have pulled out of deals, when interest rates shot up what their payment was gonna be. They pulled out of a deal that they were currently in. That happened a lot in the last couple months. It's not really happening right now because interest rates have kind of leveled out for a few months. But that's really the only indicator. It's the only indicator we have. Therefore, there's no reason to panic, but there is a way that we can use this fear to our advantage. So we're real estate investors, or we're wholesalers, we're private money lenders, we're rehabbers. We are in the real estate investing space. So we can now use this information to our advantage. How do we do that? We can use this fear to get lower prices, to get better interest rates on what you're charging folks to lend your money. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I wanna play conservative. I gotta charge an extra point up front if I'm a lender. Hey, Mr. Seller, hey, Miss Seller, can't pay what I did. We don't know what's gonna happen. Interest rates are up. We can use that information to our advantage when we talk to wholesalers, or if you're a wholesaler, when you talk to sellers. You guys understand what I'm saying here? Use this information to our advantage. So, I know you guys had John Jackson. Who was here for John Jackson, by the way? A couple months ago. Nobody was here for that. Is it recorded? Can we watch that anywhere? Okay, we want to see that because John is incredible. First of all, he's a great friend of mine. He's incredible when it comes to lease options and creative deals. Right now, and in a season that we may be headed towards, right now is going to be your best opportunity to begin to learn how to talk to sellers to get terms. Okay? When I first started real estate over 10 years ago, I used to say, this is how I would talk to people. I buy houses, cash or terms. That was my catchphrase. I buy houses for cash or for terms. Right now, in a season that we may be headed towards, it's going to be more important than ever to learn how to talk to sellers when it comes to offering terms, offering no interest deals, principal only payments, buying houses subject to, buying houses on options, which is my personal favorite thing to do in real estate. All these different creative ways, because right now, what could be happening is a seller wants to put their house on the market, but they're not going to get the crazy offers that they were just getting a few months ago. They may not even get what they're asking. So somebody like you, or a wholesaler, or a house buyer is going to come and talk to Mr. and Miss Seller and say, I can't buy it for what we could a few months ago because we're going to use this fear to our advantage. But what I could do is I could offer you this X cash price, or I can offer you terms. We can set up some sort of arrangement where I make you monthly payments, where you can defer your taxes. A lot of different things that you can do in real estate, and right now is the time to start learning some of these strategies if you haven't already. And talk about wholesaling, I've wholesaled deals. I structured the deal, and then I wholesaled the deal for a fee that I structured. It wasn't just, so there's lots of different things that we can do. So I wanted to start off by talking about that, current market conditions. I'm glad Kendra came up here and talked about that because I think that that's important. You need to really be paying attention to interest rates. It's the only data point we have. That was June's data. We obviously don't have July's data yet, but the data she just shared with you, June data, there's no change. In fact, more people are buying it now. That's the data. We got to look at the data. So I want to learn about you guys now. We can sit here, I can talk intelligently about real estate in pretty much any facet. I want to learn about you guys and learn how we can help you. How can we help you get your first deal? Who's looking for their first deal right now? Looking for your first deal. What's your name? DeMarcus. DeMarcus, what are you doing right now to try to get your first deal? Putting you on the spot.
I've been trying to like do some more creative stuff right now. I'm gonna look at multifamily in some rural areas. So
Okay.
I'm just trying.
Let me stop. What are you doing to look like? Are you doing any marketing right now?
No.
Okay. Are you talking to any sellers right now?
Yes.
How are you talking to sellers?
I try to keep a steady voice and deep.
No. I meant like how are you finding their information? How are you finding who to contact?
Well, Zillow and it's some other. I seen. Hold on. It's one rent to buy, not rent to buy.
So you're calling rent to own people who are putting their houses out there for rent, looking at Zillow, and you're just cold calling.
Mhm.
Okay. Anybody else doing any marketing right now? Who's doing marketing for real estate deals? Raise your hand up really high. Who's doing marketing? Nobody's doing marketing. I want to try to help you guys the best we can. We try to get our first deal. So you're cold calling people. Are you doing any other marketing?
No.
Are you considering doing any other marketing?
Yeah.
Okay, so general rule of thumb is I want to talk to 5 people a day. Okay? If you talk to 5 people a day who are interested in selling their home, talk to 5 people a day, you'll do your first deal in the first month. You'll get your first contract in the first month. So that's something I want to challenge you with. Do as much marketing as you have to do, as many calls as you have to make to be able to talk to 5 people who actually have a house for sale, have a meaningful conversation with 5 people per day. Anybody doing that? Anybody talking to 5 sellers a day? You are? Or you have a question?
I got a question.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
JQ.
JQ?
JQ. How do I get in front of 5 sellers today?
Woo! So we want to talk to, would marketing be a good topic to talk about for a minute?
Yes.
You guys want to talk about marketing? Okay, let's talk about, so Whitney invited me here. By the way, let's give a round of applause for Whitney. Thank you for all you do here. Whitney invited me here today to talk specifically about how to utilize your network to grow your net worth. Okay? So let's start there. Let's start with your network. How do we talk to 5 sellers today? Let's start with our network. First of all, we need to define what it is we're doing. Are we wholesale? What are we doing? You said JQ? JQ, what are we doing? Are we wholesaling? We're trying to flip a house, we're trying to buy a home.
Wholesale real estate.
We're trying to wholesale a deal. Have you ever done a deal before?
So right now I have one under contract, my first one under contract.
Perfect.
I have a buyer and a seller, so
Awesome.
it's in.
That's awesome. Let's give JQ a round of applause. That's awesome, man. You're on your way to doing your first deal. So how did you find that seller?
It was just a person I personal trained like 3 years ago. It was their son. I trained them.
Your network.
Exactly.
Your network. So I'll give you, this is gonna help you tremendously. This is gonna help you tremendously. Might help a couple other people too. If I were you, tonight, before I go to bed, I would make a post on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever you use the most. I would make a post that says something like this. Hey guys, I'm looking to buy a rental property or 2. I'm looking to buy a house or 2 in the next month. If you know of anyone who's looking to sell a house, please let me know. And make sure you put this last line in there. By the way, I'm already working with a realtor, so please don't send me anything that's already listed with a realtor. Put that post out there. The last time I did that, I got 18 leads. And for someone who's never put that post out there before, you're going to get 20 leads. You're going to get people inboxing you. You're going to get people putting comments on that post. You should all be making a post like that if you are looking to either buy a house or wholesale a house. Right? So right now, Jake, if I were you, I would start using my network. So how can we use our network? We can put a post on social media. Okay? We can come to meetings like this where we can talk to as many people as possible and try to see what it is that they're doing and how you can add value to them. Oh, you're a buyer? Oh, fantastic. Where are you looking to buy? And start taking notes and getting cards and start to understand how you're growing your buyers list. Talking to lenders. Hey, if I found a great deal, first of all, we're asking questions. Where do you live? What parts of town? What types of houses do you lend on? If I were to find that type of house at that percentage of loan to value, would you be willing to at least take a look at that deal and see if that's a good deal for you to lend on? Because as a wholesaler, so Whitney kind of got this confused, let me correct her. I do not own 500 rentals. I have wholesaled over 500 deals. Maybe that's where she confused that. But as a former wholesaler, where we were the biggest wholesale operation in the state of Alabama for many years in a row, as a former wholesaler, the check that you get from a wholesale deal should be one of many sources of revenue that come from that deal. So when you complete that deal you're about to do, are you going to get a check?
Of course.
What else are you going to get for that deal? Are you going to get any other revenue sources coming from that deal? Okay. So for me, I'm getting 3 minimum, if not 4 to 5 revenue sources off of one wholesale deal. I'm getting my wholesale fee, okay? I am also the buyer that bought my deal that's going to rehab that property, he is now getting his money from me because I've got great relationships with lenders and I broker, and I got to check Tennessee. I think Tennessee is an okay state to do this. I didn't check Tennessee. But in the state of Alabama where I'm at, you don't need a license to broker money like that. So I can take his money that he's lending at, let's say 12 and 2, 12% with 2 points, and I'm getting 2 points. So if it's a $200,000 loan, I'm getting $2,000 up front at closing. Okay? So that's a source of revenue. I owned my own brokerage for a while, but I was a realtor, and I suggest everybody I am one of the big fans of being a realtor and getting your realtor's license. But you can refer people or you can get the listing. I've negotiated the listing on almost every single wholesale deal I ever did. Okay, yeah, I'll take 1,000 less for this from you, but I want the listing. So now on a 300,000, what's 6% of 300,000? Well, I don't get the 6%, but I'll get the 3%. What's 3% of 300,000?
9,000.
Yeah, let's say. It's an extra $9,000. So I've got the wholesale fee, I've got my listing fee, my agent fee, I've got a fee for lending the money, I've got contractors that I lend out or I let people use and I get 20% of. There's so many different ways to make money from just one deal. You should never just get a wholesale check. I've negotiated equity. So I'll sell a wholesale deal to somebody, to a house flipper, say I want 10% of the equity on the back end. When you sell it, your profit, I want 10%, 20%, whatever it is. I've done 10%. There's lots of different ways to make money on one transaction. Yes, sir.
Just to be clear, Brian, so when you're saying you get the listing, so when the flipper gets the property, he completes it, then when he gets ready to sell it, you're getting the listing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood.
100%. I've done that dozens of times. Yes, ma'am.
And if you are not a realtor, there are those of us in the building that are.
Well, so listen. So you can refer if you're a realtor. You can legally. Let me put it that way. You can legally refer listings to other realtors if you're a realtor. But if you're not a realtor, then you can't do that unless you do some maneuvering, some tricks. Some creative things like a marketing fee. You could do a lot of different interesting creative things. Opening up some minds here maybe. Get some blank stares from some people. What else? What should we talk about next? Rentals?
Wait, go back to marketing. What else are they doing besides cold calling?
No, I don't cold call. I don't like cold calling. I think cold calling is great if you have a very specific personality. Who in here is terrified at the idea of cold calling somebody? Raise your hand. All the people who are terrified of raising their hands right now are the people who I'm talking to. It's a very, very specific type of personality that can take no after no after FU after FU after FU It's a very specific, it's a salesman type of mentality that you just have to go on to the next one, go on to the next one. That's not me. It never was something I enjoyed. I enjoy what's called inbound marketing. That's outbound marketing. Cold calling, text blasting, it's called interruptive marketing or outbound marketing. I never did any interruptive marketing where I'm interrupting somebody in the course of what they're doing in order so they can see or hear what it is I'm trying to put in front of them. Direct mail was always my go-to, has always been my go-to. My network, being at meetings like this is so important, especially when you're talking to someone who's newer, who's never done a deal before. Those are the people you should be talking to the most. Because those are the people who are gonna, especially if you can build rapport with them and build trust with them, they're probably the person who's gonna call you first when they do get a deal. So just expanding your network, telling people what you do, talking about what you do. You know what the number one killer of small businesses is? Anybody know? Obscurity is the number one killer of small business. So people don't know what you do. How can they give you a house? How can they sell you a house? So that's why we put our message out there on social media. You just said you're getting your first deal from somebody you met at your gym or someone you knew from your gym. I mean, it's just something that simple. Free and cheap ways to get out there. Wholesalers. Do you have good relationships with wholesalers? If you've got some good relationships with the wholesalers, you can ask them, hey, what are you doing with your dead leads? What are you doing with your dead leads? You throwing them away? When's the last time you called on your dead leads? Dead leads are typically leads with no equity. And those are the best deals to do, create something creative financing strategies. So if that's something you could send out emails, you can send out just a quick text, hey, I got your number from so-and-so. So it's not just cold calling because it's a warmer conversation because you got their number from somebody else. But those are people who have raised their hand and said, I have a house for sale, but they didn't like the offer they got, or they wanted market value, whatever it is. But they still have a problem. And the people who make the most amount of money in real estate are the people that know how to solve problems. And if you understand how to solve a problem, their problem, you can make a lot of money in this business. What else in marketing?
Who's doing direct mail? Y'all are doing direct mail?
How much direct mail are you doing?
I read your book, and it said like 40 to 50, but honestly, I do like 10 a week, 15 a week.
Okay, you're never gonna do a deal like that. You're wasting your money. Direct mail is one of those things that you gotta go, appreciate your email, it's one of those things you gotta really go big or go home, kind of thing. Direct mail, especially now.
How much do you spend on direct mail?
I mean, I can't answer that because I don't know this market, but you'd have to go pretty big. And I'll give you a big secret. The way to be the most successful at any mail or however you're using a list, where are you getting your list? That's the first question I would ask. Okay, and that's a great list, but 10 a week. It's right now. So you're driving for dollars. Are you using Deal Machine? Or are you using a Driving for Dollars app?
Deal Machine.
Deal Machine. So David Lecko is a great friend of mine, and David Lecko says right now, who owns Deal Machine? David Lecko says right now it takes for his people that use his. I think he has 8,000 active users. The people that are using his app, the Deal Machine app, it's taking them 300 postcards to get a deal. So doing 10 a week, if you do that math, it'll take you a while. And then there's other factors. How good are you at talking to people on the phone when they call? Are you good at closing? There's a lot of factors. It's not just 1 out of 300. So I'm glad you're driving for dollars because I think that's probably the best list that you can get. But let's talk about lists for a second, real quick. Lists is gonna be the most important thing. You know, Whitney, you mentioned PropStream earlier, and that I like PropStream, but the problem with PropStream is everybody's got PropStream. Everybody's downloading those lists. And everybody's mailing to those lists, especially the bigger guys in this market, which I know. I know them personally, and I know what they're doing. If you're gonna be successful at mail or at getting lists, doing something with a list, you need to get lists that no one else is getting their hands on. A driving for dollars list is a great list, but you should be getting 50 to 100 addresses every single day for that to be effective. Your Freedom of Information Act lists, such as Golden Nugget here, your water turnoff list. It's all public information. Water turnoff list. The tax list is free. It should be free, and it should be for everybody. It's probably online. A lot of people, some people are mailing to that, but some people stop doing direct mail altogether. The tax list is good. Code violations is a great list. People that have code violations.
How would you find the list?
What's that?
How would you find the code?
How do you find the code violation list? How many municipalities are in and around the greater Knoxville area?
8.
There's only 8 that actually have like city halls, town halls.
I think there's 8 counties that touch Knox County.
Not counties, cities, like city municipalities. There's probably way more than 8.
Yeah.
There's probably dozens and dozens. So you've got to go, it doesn't matter, the point I'm trying to make is, you need to go to each one of them, because they're all going to have their own, they all write their own code violations. They all have their own water turnoff list, unless the county, some might. Some cities might have their own. You need to look at which municipalities have their own water systems, and which one uses the big, probably county one. That's one you can go get from the county. But code violations is going to be municipality by municipality. You got to go to every one of them. Freedom of Information Act requests. There's so many. This is a funny one, but it's so true. People who are in prison, they just went to prison. Getting that list, they own a house, what are they going to do with it? I mean, that's a legitimate list. People that have been to jail recently, that just got arrested, or the arrest list. Not necessarily convicted of going to jail, but the arrest list.
Oh, those are my tenants.
But those, I'm sorry for you and where you've chosen to get rentals. These guys, these are free or mostly free. Sometimes they'll charge you for some of these lists if it takes some resources to be able to actually like put the data together for you. But they're free or they're mostly free. These are lists, guys, I'm telling you right now, nobody is putting in that work. Nobody's putting in that work to go do that. And when you're a wholesaler, especially, it's really, might as well just like rename it hustler. Because you got to put the hustle in, you got to put the work in.
Yeah.
If you really want to be successful wholesaling. Now, if you're just buying and holding or buying a fix and flip, you need to get on their list and you need to get their good graces. If you're a house flipper or you're buying rentals and you want to buy great deals, the number one way you will get every deal that a wholesaler gets is by being their best friend. Okay? The whole know, like, and trust thing. I will pay more for the exact same thing that someone else might be selling. I will pay more if I know that my great friend is the one selling it. Why do we buy our friends' daughters and sons those dumb little popcorn things that come in those, and it costs like $40 for a tiny thing of popcorn? Why do we do that? We're not doing it because it's a good deal, are we? We're paying 3 times as much, if not 5 times as much for this stupid little tin thing of popcorn than we would if we went to the store. We do it because out of respect for them, out of we trust them, we like them, they like us. We will overpay for something for someone that we like, from someone that we like and trust. The same goes with if your best friend is a wholesaler, they're gonna take less for that deal to give it to you because they like you that much. That's why your network is your net worth. This is what I mean by that. This is how we take that phrase that's been overused And everybody uses it, and people roll their eyes when I say it. But this is how we put meaning and substance and definition to my network is my, like, I'm actually getting a deal and saving, really making in equity thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars here just because I've been good to someone else. And they trust me. You guys get it?
Yep.
Same is true with, if you're a house flipper, why would I go to a private lender that charges a point more than this other guy? Maybe he's easier to work with. He or she's easier to work with. I just like them. They make things so easy on me that I'm going to overpay. I can't tell you how many times, as a wholesaler, that I will go to this go-to, it was a fund, it was a private equity fund in Birmingham. I'm going to this fund even though I knew that they were going to pay a few $1,000s less than a couple other people might pay, but they were going to walk out to the property, they were going to glance around for 2 minutes and give me a hard, firm offer right then and there on the spot. I didn't have to do anything else. It went to their title company. They paid me up front. And I'm taking, over the course of years, I probably left $100,000 on the table. But it was worth it because it was so easy for me. It was so simple for me. How many relationships like that could you have with other people in this industry? And how much money would you save or make just because you were the easy person to work with and you got along with everybody and you were just good to people? That's how we can actually translate our network and actually see dollar signs. Translate it into actual money. Whitney, do you have a question?
Yes. Marcy, what kind of mail are you doing? Are you doing letters or postcards? Letters? Is there a difference between letters and postcards?
Yeah, the cost. What? How many are you doing?
I'm not doing that many.
Okay.
Absentee on it.
Okay, and absentee, that's fine. Okay, here's what I want. I'm gonna tell you guys an enormous secret, and I'm gonna prove this with this. Google search, we buy houses Knoxville. I already know who's number one. He's been number one for a long time. But Google search, we buy houses Knoxville, or sell my house fast Knoxville, any variation of that. Take the top 10, call them. I will bet you a steak dinner that 7 out of 10 of these people, or 8 or 9, 7 at least, will not answer the phone.
That's true.
I know it's true. I've done it many, many times in many markets. The same goes for direct mail. I can definitely count on one hand. There's probably 1, maybe 2 people and or businesses in this area who are really doing direct mail the right way. And they're getting all their deals off of it. Maybe there's 1. All the rest of them are wasting their money. And they think that it's a good thing to do because it's something that we're doing and we're just dabbling in this. And I'm not going to put anybody on the spot here, but I would be willing to bet that the people who are doing direct mail here are also doing this, and they're doing this, and they're doing a little bit of this, and they're doing a little bit, oh, and by the way, and I tried a little bit of this.
Yep.
That is the biggest way to fail in this business. If you want to be successful in this business, you need to pick one thing in marketing and be the best at it.
Yep.
Go all in. There's a person here who I know, I'm very familiar with, I've done business with him, and he's been on my podcast, and I've known him for many years, probably as many years as he's been here. He's number 1 on Google in this area, has been number 1 on Google in this area for years, and it's because it's all he does, and he does it great. And they focus on it, they spend effort and time and energy. Yeah, they're doing other things. He's doing some other things now. But when he first got started, I was first getting going. I'm gonna focus on this whole Google thing. I can spend money on AdWords, but I don't need to because I'm number one organically, and I've been number one, and I will continue to be number one, and number two is not even close. They're not even close. This guy's dominating this area right now because of Google. You could dominate this area right now if you picked one thing. I wouldn't choose Google, by the way. If you really wanted to do direct mail, then you'd go huge. You go huge with lists that no one else has. And I promise you, people are not putting in the work. They don't want to do the work. They're not going to do the work. There's too much low-hanging fruit for people to not do for people to have to do the work. I made my 5 grand, my 10 grand, maybe my 15 grand. Now that means I can chill. And they will. And they'll chill for a month or 2 or 3. And they'll be like, man, that money's running out. Maybe I need to do that wholesale deal again. You know how many of those people there are out there? You come to something like this, they learn a couple of tricks, they go out and try real hard. Man, that was a lot of work. I don't know if I want to keep doing all that. But there's opportunity here. There's opportunity in every market. There's opportunity with direct mail. There's opportunity with bandit signs, if that's the route you want to go. I'm not going to get into cold calling or text blasting. I don't think that those aren't things that I would want to do. So I just can't talk to. There are people that teach on that stuff and they're great at it. If that's you, go for it. But you could dominate this market if you wanted to. Nobody's out there getting water cut off lists, arrest records, code violations, because it's work. It's too much work. What else?
Is anybody doing bandits? You used to.
What about the people who are buying rentals right now? Who's buying rental? Who's a buyer?
Yes.
Who's a buyer? What are we buying? What are we trying to buy?
Duplexes.
Single family in good areas, in C areas, B areas.
CB 3.2.
Okay.
1,400 square feet.
And you're looking for a deal right now?
Yes.
What kind of deal are you looking for? How much equity do you need?
I want cash flow, minimum $300 a month.
Minimum $300. Give me an idea of what that average house might look. Is that a $150,000 house that rents for? That's a $120,000 house.
Can't find it. That's the
No,
problem.
they're different.
Let's talk in terms of ARV. What it's actually worth when it's all fixed up. What kind of numbers are we looking at?
No, it used to be about 2, I think.
I mean, I used to be able to buy, let's say 2 years ago, I would have bought one I did buy one for $106,000. I put 30 in it, so I was all in.
And it rents for?
It rents for, right now, 17.
So you're looking for something in the
That obviously runs, it just skyrockets.
So you're looking for something in the 150 to 200 range, possibly all in, that rents for 2,000. You're getting a loan on these properties?
Yeah.
Or how would you? Your interest rate's just gone up. You're still. You still.
I'd probably still get 5 on 4.
Okay. And you're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So those deals exist. You know that. Is somebody buying that deal?
Somebody's buying it, yes.
Okay. So the deal exists.
Nexus is buying. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So how's Zach? How's Nexus getting these deals?
SEO.
Yeah.
He's the top. He's the best.
Okay. So going different. So are you doing marketing? Or are you trying to buy them from wholesalers?
I was doing dropping for dollars with Deal Machine.
You have to do a lot of it.
It was right on actually. What they said. What's his name?
David.
David. Yeah. It's a $3,000 spend to get one closed deal, and that's exactly what it was.
But that's worth it if you're getting the equity.
It was. I just didn't want. I don't want to drop the dollar.
It's your time.
Right.
So it's not $3,000. It's $3,000 in money, and it's how many hours in my time. So everything comes down to time versus money. Everything does. So How are you getting deals right now? When's the last time you bought a deal?
I closed on two, early last month.
Okay.
MLS deals.
Okay.
So realtors didn't know what they were doing.
Okay. So is that a strategy you can exploit?
No, I am the realtor.
Oh,
They
okay.
were the ones that I bought.
So is that a strategy? What's your name again?
Thomas.
What is it?
Thomas.
Thomas. Is that a strategy you can exploit?
Being better at my job than the listing agent, yeah, absolutely.
You know how many crappy agents there are right now?
I know.
Don't get me started.
90%.
Yep. I didn't know the agent's crappy though.
Because they didn't get the price they should have for it, and that's why I got the deal, because I was smarter.
So,
They didn't know what they were doing.
okay, so the last two deals you got off the MLS. So that's a strategy. You're a realtor, so that's a strategy. What else are you doing for marketing? What else are you doing to find deals?
I really networking with wholesalers. I mean, I know Zach, I know Pat.
Find the wholesaler who's brand new and bring them under your wing and teach them.
Yes.
But I'm not a wholesaler like that.
You're what?
I'm not a wholesaler, I'm not gonna.
No, just teach them real estate.
There's-
Hey, I'm here to answer your questions.
Others don't.
Hey, I'm here to answer. You got a question about what something might be worth? Give me a call.
Yeah, no, the numbers I understand, it's getting the deals and.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point. When you befriend the person who's brand new, and you're the one that you take their phone call, they got questions, you answer their questions, they're coming to you first.
Yes.
They get a deal, they finally get a deal. That new wholesaler doesn't know what they got either. You do. And not that you're taking advantage of them, but you're in exchange for helping them along.
That's how I got started, somebody did that for me.
So that's a strategy. That's more of a longer term, longer outlook. That's probably why you're here. Try to find deals, looking for deals. You should talk to somebody who's wholesale, who's either trying to wholesale or I am a wholesaler. Raise your hand really, really high. Really. Okay. Now, everybody put your hands in. If I'm a buyer, I'm looking for properties right now. I'm an active, I got cash in my pocket, I'm ready to go. Raise your hand up really high. Who is that? Only 3 people?
Yeah.
Okay. Wholesalers, you got those people on your buyers list? Have you talked to them? Anybody a contractor in here? Anybody?
Yeah.
So you do everything?
Yeah.
Are you doing everything?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not everything.
Okay.
I'm getting into
We have a control issue, so we just have to.
Okay. We got contractors in here. We got money in here. We got wholesalers in here. We got buyers in here. What am I missing? What are we missing? Some of you just need,
Communication.
what is it?
Communication.
Communication? Well, that's up to you, right? That's on you. The wholesale, so teaching people how, so it seems to me like finding the deal is something that's a topic that, or some education that we need here. You know, learn how to find a deal, other creative ways to find deals. No? Yes? Maybe that's, yes, sir.
Okay, so in your book, you said you were spending like $20,000 in marketing.
Yeah, well, that book's from 2018, so but yes, at the height, yeah, we were right at 20, yeah.
And you were wholesaling at the time, right? That was their wholesaling time?
Yes,
Okay, so when you were doing $20,000 a month in
Yes.
marketing at that time,
yes.
was it all from the list, like the free information list you talked about earlier?
No.
Or was it?
That was at the height of it. That's when we were, direct mail was big, but we were on TV, radio, billboards, 150 bandit signs every single Friday night. We had a 4-person call center taking calls.
Okay, so you
From leads.
hunting deals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were doing everything at that point. That was 2015, 16, 17. Yeah.
Why don't you do it anymore?
Because it is, oh my gosh, that gives me anxiety to think about it.
I didn't know if the market had changed.
No, it's the opposite. You know, well, the market was going nuts. I got burned out.
Oh, I believe it, yeah.
At the time, I didn't know how to set up a business, like a real business that operated without me, without my involvement. I went on pretty much every appointment, because I loved it. I really and genuinely loved talking to people. I was good at it, always left with a contract. We were able to sell them to our buyers literally same day. And I was on to the next one. I didn't even have to worry about the transaction coordination because we were feeding this fund so many. And it was awesome. I mean, it was big time. And no one else was doing it like we were doing. Got burned out. I ended up buying a 59 space mobile home park. I bought a commercial building, and I was more invested in that. I started a REIA in 2017, started coaching and teaching, and just was all about the rentals. I got up to 77 rentals, to be clear on the rental thing. And just started this stuff. I just enjoyed the teaching. I have a master's degree in education. I used to be a Division I college basketball coach. I really enjoy this part of it. I really enjoy helping people best I can. So, yeah, but the wholesaling stuff, it's a grind. I mean, it really is. The folks that are out there on YouTube and Instagram and making it look like it's glamorous, I'm gonna tell you guys something. It's a tiny portion of people who are able to turn wholesaling into a true business that operates without them. When I say tiny, there might be 10 people, 10 companies in all of America who are able to do that. That's not, I don't think that's really a realistic thing. It's a lot of hustle, a lot of hard work, it's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of overhead. And you want to spend that kind of overhead, it's a lot of money to get a deal. I mean, it's $3 to $5 grand per deal right now. It's kind of the national average right now. Just to get one deal, that's how much it costs. And yeah, the national average wholesale fee is over 10 grand. It's like 12 grand right now. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of overhead. That's why the best business to be in, if you're in real estate, is first of all, learning how to talk to people. You have to learn how to talk to people. You have to learn how to solve problems. You can solve problems, solve people's problems. I became the middle guy, to answer your question, Lynn. I became the middle guy for a lot of these transactions. If I'm gonna do a wholesale deal today, so I did 20 wholesale deals in 2021, in 2021, and this was literally what I did. Somebody contacted me, I got a deal, and I said, great, send it to so-and-so. They buy that. And then send me a fee, whatever you think is fair. And I get a fee from the wholesaler, and I get a fee from the buyer. So I'm making about 8 to 10 grand per deal, but I'm literally doing nothing. I'm literally saying, connecting two people. I don't want to do any of the work, any of the legwork. Y'all do it, figure it out, send me whatever you think is fair. And I'm making 8 to 10 grand per. So that's connecting private money and taking a point or two. Just stuff like that. Just trying to find a way to be the middle person where I'm not having to do all the actual work. I think there's a lot to be said for that. But can't really get there unless you put in the hours, getting hung up on a million times if that's your thing. Being face to face, belly to belly with a seller and getting no's and no's and no's and no's and no's thrown in your face over and over and over, people not accepting your low cash offer. You need that. And it's my opinion, you need that in order to learn how to talk to people and how to negotiate and how to get people to accept your low cash offer or your terms. Getting people to see that this is the best option that you have. What else? I'm here for you guys. I'm here as long as y'all want to be here. I'm driving back to Birmingham tonight, but I'm not even opposed to going. Isn't there a restaurant right across the way? Is that a decent place to eat?
You go to Aubrey's.
Is there something close here? I'm not even opposed to going and sit down with some of y'all if you want to keep having a conversation. But I'm here to serve best I can, help you the best way I can. Yes, sir.
You ever done like fix and flips?
Yeah, I hate it.
What part you hate about doing fix and flips?
What part do I hate? Oh my gosh. The project management of it, babysitting adults is probably the hardest part.
You're a professional babysitter. That's a good way to put it.
So you
Yeah,
found one?
I think like right now the best thing to do in real estate, well, first of all, you need to learn skills. You really do. You need to get hung up on. I mean, you just do. You need to get the door slammed in your face. You need to learn what it takes to talk to somebody. So learning those skills, learning what marketing works best. Not by dabbling in it, but like, I'm gonna stick to this one thing for 6 months minimum. Even if the first 4 months I'm getting 0 results and spending money, I'm gonna stick to this one thing for 6 months, give it my full attention, and then I'll analyze the results after 6 months. So learning a marketing skill, learning how to talk to people, coming to these meetings every single month, and going to coffee or lunch with people in here, going up to the event organizer and asking her, telling her exactly what it is that you do, exactly what it is that you need, and asking her the question, who, based on what I just told you, who in this room do you think I should meet? Would you be willing to connect me with that person?
Oh yeah, I got you.
You need the battle scars. But the best thing right now in real estate is gonna be creative stuff, especially if you can negotiate no money down, principal only payments. Yes, you can do it. Yes, I've done it. Yes, I'm doing it. No money down, principal only. Why would people do that? You want to find deals right now, Thomas? Start thinking outside the box. Now all of a sudden you don't need your 5.5, 5.25 interest rate that you're getting from the local bank. You can get financed straight from the seller. These are deals that are right now on the MLS. Expired listings. Expired listings right now. These are people that want to sell their house and can't for some reason. Thomas, I would ask you the question, are you a problem solver? Well then, you have an entire MLS. How many expired listings are there in areas that Thomas would want to be in? Who can look this up for me right now? How many expired listings are there in the last 6 months in decent B areas right now? 300?
There was a good bit when we looked them up last month. Yes.
Okay, so you don't need to really do that. But do you see the point I'm trying to make? There's opportunity. And that's a phone call. These are people who, that's not even really cold calling. These are people who have already raised their hand and said, I have a house for sale. And here's the price that I want for my house. They've already given you all the information. And you're a problem solver. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I saw that you were trying to sell your house last month. Is the house still for sale, first of all? Could you tell me, why didn't it sell? Why don't you think it's sold? And just have a conversation with them. And if it sounds promising on the phone, I don't really negotiate on the phone. My whole purpose of being on the phone is to get the appointment. But it's gotta look promising. You've gotta ask some qualifying questions, make sure it looks promising, so we don't completely waste our time. We go out there and we just have a conversation with them. Let them trust us. You're a realtor, so you have a fiduciary responsibility first and foremost because you are a realtor, right? Which means you have to look out for their best interest first. Which means you could tell them realistically, this is what you could get right now if we listed the house. And you knew this, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Right now, in these market conditions, because again, we can use the fear. We can use the fear. Right now, in these market conditions, you're probably not going to get that number. You know that. What if I were to present you a scenario where you could get that number? Would you be interested in having a conversation about that? And now you could, because you can solve problems, and because you're a transactional engineer. You're not a real estate investor. You're a transactional engineer. You can engineer a transaction that works for you. Let me ask you guys a question. Who in this room would buy a house right now, today, for full market value? This is move-in ready. I'm not saying it's rehabbed and beautiful, but it's move-in ready today. Who would buy a house for full market value right now if they allowed you to buy that house with no money down and principal only payments? Who would do it? Raise your hand really high.
All day long.
Why? It's for full market value. Why? Because who said it? How much money, if you were to get a loan, say you even, I mean, I like to have a whiteboard with me and I'll get my calculator out, but if we were to pay $50,000 less for that, depending on the price point obviously, but I'm assuming this house is in a really good area. Say we paid $50,000 less and paid cash for it, we'd still be out better because we'd have to get a loan over here. We'd still be out better making principal only payments. Who's ever done that?
I have a question. What is the goal?
Who? Hold on real quick. I'll get them one second. Who's ever tried to do that before? You've tried?
They say they're getting lost because there's no skin in the game.
There's no skin in the game. Okay, so now, what's your name?
Brian.
Graham? So now, Graham, you know what we need to do? Me and you? Or you, really? We need to learn, we need to brush up and learn how to talk to a seller and learn some key phrases, how to ask the right questions, how to listen to what their actual problem is. Because if that's their objection, then we had to solve that. We needed to know what that objection was. Just like an attorney. Attorney's not going to ask a question that they don't already know the answer to. We already know they have the objection by their body language, by some of the qualifying questions we're asking them. We need to know that that's going to be their biggest concern before we even make the proposal.
They usually say I'm not the back.
I'm sorry?
They usually tell you I'm not the back.
Okay.
That's how they're saying it. They really think get lost. You don't have skin in the game and go get qualified for the back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are these people you talk to on the phone or face to face?
Both.
Both? Okay. So again, what I would say, Graham, is we need to ask questions up front. And the best question I like to ask in the very beginning, well, not the very beginning, but once we really start transition to the negotiation, which they don't know we've transitioned, but I want to ask them the question, what do you need? You need to sell the house for full market value. We already know that because they listed the house, but we're talking about expired listings right now, so let's talk about expired listings. They put the house on the market, right? Put it at this price. We already know the price they're looking to get. And we've already had this conversation with them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we already know you're looking to get this price, and you know, because they've been watching the news, you know we're not in these market conditions anymore. You're not going to be able to get that price. You already knew that. If you were to list this house today, what price would you list it for? And yes, Graham, there's going to be some people out there that say, if I can't get that price, then I'm not selling. There's zero motivation. We know that on the phone. There's zero motivation. I was only putting it on the market just to test it out. If we could get this really high price, I'd sell it. If we didn't get that really high price, we got to learn how to do a wraparound mortgage. We got to learn how to do a lease option. We have to learn how to do a subject to. We got to learn how to structure these deals to where, because we're a transaction engineer. If you are in this business, you're trying to, even if you're a wholesaler, if you're in this business, you need to understand how to engineer a transaction. Because every house is different, every seller is different, every situation is going to be different. It's going to be a little difference in all of them. You have to be so educated and understand understand real estate so well, you can do that. You can help people. Thomas, you just said you can solve people's problems. Can you? Graham, can you solve people's problems? Can you? Okay. Then go do it. You got to get them to talk. I would recommend you read and listen to and just get in your brain. Never Split the Difference. Chris Voss. I get the audio book and just let it play on repeat. Listen to that thing 100 times. It's probably the single best book on how to talk to people. Yes, ma'am.
But specific questions
Mhm.
for qualifying.
Sure, yeah.
You're saying we gotta do that. What's your best resource for learning those questions?
Yeah, books like that, being in meetings like this, listening to good speakers that come up here and give you some good tips on that. I'll tell you who the best I found at being able to talk to people. It's funny I just said that. Brent Daniels, who owns a company called TTP, Talk to People. Brent Daniels is really good. Just listen to his Instagram. Just listen to his YouTube channel. Just listen to the way he talks to sellers. He's great at it. Really good friend of mine. Brent Daniels, TTP, Talk to People. He's got it so near. I've even got a YouTube video. He came and spoke at our. You need to get Brent out here.
Okay.
He came and spoke at our REIA. Probably 2019, somewhere around in there. And the video's up on our YouTube channel. He literally says, when you're talking to a seller, there's only 6 things they can say. And I don't want to butcher it, but you should go watch that video. There's only 6 things they can say. They can say, no. They can say, and I don't want to butcher it, but how'd you get my number? Who are you again? Hang up on you, F you. Or they actually have a house for sale and they're saying yes. Or they're saying, yes, I am this person. He's got incredible scripts that he gives away for free. Really, really good at that. But just be immersed, be a student, always be a student, never stop learning.
I was telling Whitney about this, to your point right there. I talked to a woman, 27 years old, talked to her last week. She watched YouTube videos, listened to podcasts. She and her boyfriend decided we're gonna try this, and a year ago they started wholesaling, and she did an average of a deal a month, and she made over $200,000 her first year. Didn't do a guru. I kept saying, no, you didn't go to any classes, you didn't do a guru. She says, no, I just watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts. And I finally got the nerve to call somebody, and I gotta know, but I finally started getting the yeses, and that's what she did. But she immersed herself. What you just said, you have to, whatever you're doing. I mean, you got it. You're gonna be successful.
So let me tell you a secret about coaching and gurus and mentorship and all this stuff. The information is everywhere. You should never pay a coach or a mentor for information or information only. The only reason you should pay for coaching or mentorship is for speed of implementation. They can help you get there faster, and for their network and for their connections. And if you don't think that person can help you in both of those areas, then that's not the right person for you. That's why I highly recommend people who are local to the area that you're trying to do something in, because they've got the local connections that can help you. And I highly recommend people who they're not just selling information. They're selling their connections, and they're helping you get there faster than what you could do on your own. But at the end of the day, you have to put in the work. And unfortunately, most of the people who buy coaching and mentorship, they think, maybe not outwardly, but internally, they think that I bought this coaching, that means I did something. That means I did it. That's the thing. That's the thing that I did to make this whole thing work. And that's not true. It couldn't be further from the truth. You have to put in work in this business, and there's a lot of work to do. Even if you're trying to do something passive, like buy a rental. Buying a rental is not passive. Who owns rental and can attest to that? Being a private money lender is not passive. There's work. You have to go and vet the deal, make sure that your money's safe. There's no such thing as passive income, in case you didn't know that. But guys, you have to put in the work, and there's no substitute for the work either. The coach or the mentor can just help you get there faster. But if you're not studying, and if you're not failing, getting the door slammed in your face, getting the phone hung up on you, getting the FUs, if you're not failing, you will not be able to succeed in this business. You have to fail in this business. There's no other way. Then, after pay your dues, so to speak, then after you get your reps, you learn, now this business becomes a lot easier. You've grown your network. You come to meetings like this every single month. You learn from people here, not just speak. You guys, you're going to get way more out of the conversations that you have with each other. You're going to get way more from going to dinner with some people or going to coffee or lunch later on this week or next week or whatever it is. You're going to get way more from them than you'll ever get from me or any other speaker on the stage. Way more. Way more valuable. You'll forget 1,000%. You'll forget almost everything I've said up here. But you won't forget the meaningful conversation that you had with somebody while you were here. You won't forget the coffee that you had with that one person who believed in you or asked you the right question or agreed to meet with you. You won't forget that. Because it's going to help move you along one more step. Helped you one more step. That's the secret. That's the trick. Trust me, I paid my dues. Trust me. Over and over and over and over and over. What else?
You missed the book.
That's an old book. Don't get that. You don't need to get that book. I appreciate you reading, by the way. But don't get that book.
She put out a Knoxville REIA website. Knoxville REIA.
You don't need that book. You don't need that book. I'd rather you go to my YouTube channel and the REI Live YouTube channel, and we've got everything on there. Everything, anything and everything you could possibly need. I interview the best of the best of the best. And by the way, I bring on the best. I'm not the best of the best. I bring on and interview the best. So definitely go check that out. There you go. And we're live right now. Everybody say hello.
Hello.
We're live. So scroll. I was supposed to say scroll down. Why'd you pull us up live? Go back and scroll down. So how to do a subject to deal, how to buy a house subject to the existing financing. Who's ever done that? Who knows how to do that? Buying a house, financing is already in place, someone else's loan, and you buy that house and keep that loan in place. For a long time, until Pace Moore became along, who's a good friend of mine. Until he came along, that was the #1 video on all of YouTube when it comes to subject to. And then Pace came along and bought the sub2.com domain and has gone nuts with it. And he's great, by the way. He's great at what he does. How to wholesale's on here, how to market, all the different types of marketing strategies. If you want information, again, guys, information is everywhere. Information is everywhere. But just, hey, one video a day. Just absorb it, keep absorbing it, keep absorbing it. But nothing takes the place. Picking up that phone, if that's what you're doing, or getting belly to belly, getting face to face with a seller. Nothing takes the place of that. You gotta do it. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna stick around if you guys have some questions for me. I'm willing to stick around for as long as you guys will be here. If anybody wants to go grab a bite, I'm not opposed to doing that either. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions, I've got all this information I put up here. If you need to get in touch with him, I would suggest what? Instagram?
Sure.
Instagram, but also all these videos are absolutely amazing. Cool? All right, if y'all have any other questions for him, let him know. Anybody have any questions for me?
Does anybody in the room have a deal?
Does anybody in the room have a deal? Good question. Anybody have a deal? You got a deal? You got a deal you want to sell? You want to present?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Come here. Come on.
Sit at the table with me.